Hi, everyone. We're just running a little bit behind here. We should be starting in about 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you for your patience.
Check, check, check. Final mic check. Check, check, check. Final mic check. Thank you so much. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. All right. Final mic check. Thank you so much. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Check, check. We all set? Okay. This is a final mic check. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. Are we good? Alrighty. Thank you so much, guys. Keep going, keep going. I'm going. Checking the mic, making sure we are all set. We have the music off. Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please silence your devices. Our program will begin momentarily. Please welcome Derek Morgan, Executive Vice President of the Heritage Foundation.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone to the Heritage Foundation. We're delighted that you joined us today, and thank you for your patience as well as we undergo a historic event here. I have a few very brief words, and then I have the privilege of welcoming our distinguished guest, who will give remarks and then answer questions from the media. U.S. foreign policy should be driven by the pursuit of a strong, safer, and more prosperous America. As President Trump rightly recognizes, that means paying special attention to our hemisphere. We are blessed by so many of our neighbors who want to live in peace and respect their people. Because of our geographic, economic, and societal ties, malign developments in the Americas make the United States disproportionately vulnerable. If you don't believe that, then just ask some of the hundreds of thousands of American families who have lost loved ones to deadly drugs in recent years. Or notice how China, Russia, and Iran have all invested heavily in establishing a strategic foothold in our hemisphere. Nicolas Maduro led an anti-American socialist regime that weaponized deadly drugs, mass migration, and tren de agua against our towns and our cities. Meanwhile, he offered American adversaries an operating base. The American people, the Venezuelan people, and our entire hemisphere are far safer today because President Trump boldly sent U.S. Special Forces and the Department of Justice to capture Maduro and to bring him to justice. Securing our hemisphere also means working with our friends, our partners, and our allies. And the United States has many. We are honored to have one of those friends with us here today. María Corina Machado has been a brave fighter against Nicolas Maduro and the regime since it began to take form. Unlike many others in Venezuela and Washington, she recognized the danger from the very beginning. The Venezuelan people rewarded her principled opposition by casting their ballots amidst harsh repression from the regime. Her efforts, along with those of President Trump, have brought Venezuela closer to the restoration of freedom, stability, and security. And we all hope to see the return of legitimate elections in Venezuela in the near future. We are honored to host history here at the Heritage Foundation and important conversations like the one you are going to participate in today. Here, we work to build an America where freedom, opportunity, prosperity, and civil society flourish. I'm delighted to welcome to the stage María Corina Machado.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, such a pleasure to be here. Very grateful to the Heritage Foundation and every one of you to join us this morning. I have to say that looking back what has happened in the last years and especially in the last days, it seems like a miracle to be sitting here in a free country in front of people that have also given their lives to fight for freedom and justice and democracy. And that's why I am very honored, not only with the Heritage Foundation, but with every single citizen of this country that has welcomed us and has honored the immense struggle that the Venezuelan people has fought for so long. And finally, we can say that we are, yes, the threshold of freedom. On January 3rd, 2026, a new milestone was achieved, and we are definitely now into the first steps of a true transition to democracy that will have not only immense impact in the lives of all Venezuelans, those who stayed in our country, those who have been forced to flee around the world, but that will have immense impact in the region, in our hemisphere, and I will say even further in the whole world. Because what we have proven is that a people determined to be free, even without resources, without money, without the free press supporting, even facing the most cruel tyranny, can prevail, because the force of conviction and the force of love is the strongest of all. I am very proud to be part of these generations of Venezuelans. Most of them have never known what it means to live in freedom or what it means to be part of a democratic society, but they have risked their lives, their loved ones, everything they have, because they share that dream to live in a free country. It's all about human dignity. It's all about justice. It's all about love. And it's love for our children, love for our country, and love for freedom that has brought us here. Now we face a very complex and delicate process. And as Venezuelans, we are absolutely grateful to President Trump, his team, his administration, and the people of the United States, because it took a lot of courage to do what he did. And he did it, yes, on behalf of the American people, but also because he cares for the people of Venezuela. And he told me that yesterday. And I think that was the most important message I can bring back to my country. Tell the Venezuelan people that the American people and the President of the United States truly cares for the life, the well-being, and the future. I'm certainly talking about our political prisoners and all those who have been persecuted, those who are all today in exile. But I'm also talking about those children that are growing without their mothers because they had to flee to send food back, that are growing without education because public schooling in Venezuela works 2 days a week because teachers earn $1 a day and they need to get other jobs in order to eat, that are growing without health and food. And we have the generation that is suffering the highest levels of malnutrition in a century. That's our children right now. And it is because of them. It's because of saving lives that we're doing what we're doing right now. And that's why we're going to win. And the only thing I want to assure the Venezuelan people is that Venezuela is going to be free, and that's going to be achieved with the support of the people of the United States and the President, Donald Trump of the United States. So I'm very grateful to be here. We're facing challenging times ahead. We are prepared to do what it takes as a legitimate government. Edmundo González Urrutia and I have been in communication permanently all these days, and we feel not only with a mandate from the Venezuelan people, and that's why I'm here, and that's why what I convey to the President of the United States, but also with a huge task in front of us to prepare with all our teams around the world and in Venezuela to take over government when the right time arrives. So thank you very much, and I'm more than willing to hear your questions now. So I believe there is a procedure that has been designed, so because we thought there might be some interest today.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you, Ms. Machado. I'm going to start off with a question, and then we're going to open it up to the press. My question to you, Ms. Machado, is you know the Venezuelan people more than anyone, and that's apparent from the very you know the Venezuelan people more than anyone, and that's apparent from the very strong support that they've shown for you time and time again. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about, I mean, as you know, your country has been destroyed by socialism, Cuba, Russia, and Iran looting your nation, your wealth. Do you see, and the primary victim of this has been the Venezuelan people, do you see a future in which, at all possible, where a free and fair election and return to democracy in Venezuela restores anything but a strong, staunched U.S. ally and a country that leaves behind the shackles of socialism?
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me? I'm hearing like an echo here. Yep.
We hear you.
It's fine? Okay. Well, I'm very glad. No, there's a problem with an echo, right? No, please. So comfortable sitting down. You want me to stand up? You prefer that I stand up? No? That's better now? Okay. Look, I'm very glad we start with this issue because I understand that there are many concerns regarding the transition in Venezuela and compared to previous events in other parts of the world. And I always insist in the difference between what is Venezuela today compared to Middle East countries that went through change in governments or regimes. We're talking about a society that is perhaps the most cohesive in the region. I would dare to say even in the world. I ask you to think any other society in which 90% of the population wants the same. Not only that they reject the actual regime, but we want the same. There are not religious tensions within the Venezuelan society, or racial, or regional, or political, or social. I mean, there was one longing that brought Venezuelans together, and that was we want our children back home. And it was that demand that I heard all around Venezuela in 2023, when we were moving forward to the primary process, that made me realize how powerful it was to unite a country, to tear down the barriers that the regime had built to divide us, you know, between rich and poor, black and white, left and right, military and civilians. And we brought a country back together. That's why I always said, you know what, Maduro's gonna go. We're gonna get rid of him one day or the other. What's important is the country that's coming afterwards. And it's a country based on shared values. We want to live with dignity. We want to live with the result of our work, our effort, a society based in merit, and not if you know the chavista who is in certain place at certain time. Women do not want handouts. They don't want to live in give their children a box of food that has a high cost, because then you have to lower your head and repeat what the regime wants you to say, or dress as they expect you to dress. They want to live with their job well done. That's dignity. And that's what Venezuela deserves and wants today. And that's what we represent. So, of course, the result of this hard process will be a society based on these values. A society that is profoundly pro-America. And I want to insist on this. Delcy Rodriguez, yes, she's a communist. She's the main ally and representation of the Russian regime, the Chinese and the Iranians. But that's not the Venezuelan people, and that's not the armed forces as well. So I am profoundly, profoundly confident that we will have an orderly transition. This is a complex phase we are right now. Some of the dirty work is being done by them. But then the result of a stable transition will be a proud Venezuela who is going to be the best ally the United States has ever had in the Americas.
We're going to have a person come up and...
Sorry for that. I'm gonna leave.
Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you very much for coming. I realize there's a lot of interest. We're going to try to get to every question. I'm going to go through a list. There's outlets that have more than one reporter accredited, so I would like to please ask you to raise your hand so we can get one of our kind staff to bring the microphone to you as I call you out. Julio Vaqueiro from Telemundo, please.
Hola, Julio.
Hola, María Corina. Qué gusto verte aquí en Washington, D.C. El presidente Donald Trump, su gobierno, está hablando y trabajando con Delcy Rodríguez, así lo han dicho ellos. Usted le dio el Premio Nobel de la Paz al presidente Trump en su encuentro ayer. ¿Qué le dio el presidente a usted? ¿Un reconocimiento de su legitimidad como opositora con el mandato de encabezar esta transición en Venezuela?
Gracias, Julio. Yo no vine a buscar nada para mí. Vengo aquí en representación del pueblo de Venezuela, que eligió a Edmundo González Urrutia como presidente electo. ¿Perdón? ¿A que lo baje? Ah, los teléfonos, ok. Entonces, repito, yo vine en representación del pueblo de Venezuela, que nos dio un mandato. Primero el 22 de octubre del 2023. Ay, no. Ya va, chicos, un minuto. Vamos a ¿se escucha bien o no?
Cambiamos
Ya, vamos a cambiarlo. Ok, ahora está mejor. ¿Ahora sí? Ok, voy a repetir la pregunta la respuesta a la pregunta de Julio. Les decía, yo vine a reunirme con el presidente de los Estados Unidos en representación del pueblo de Venezuela, que nos dio un mandato. El 22 de octubre del 2023, cuando yo recibí más del 92% de los votos en las primarias, y el 28 de julio de 2024, cuando Edmundo González Urrutia, en las condiciones más extremas y fraudulentas, recibió el 67% de los votos de los venezolanos y lo probamos, Vine a recibir de parte de él un mensaje para los venezolanos y es la seguridad de que contamos con los Estados Unidos para avanzar en una ruta donde se haga respetar la soberanía nacional, la libertad, la democracia y la justicia. Hay un proceso muy complejo en marcha, lo sabemos, pero se están dando pasos. Evidentemente, para los venezolanos es una situación cada día, para muchos venezolanos de vida o muerte, y ahí hay una enorme urgencia ética. Pero entendemos que este es un proceso complejo al cual nosotros somos parte y queremos y estamos contribuyendo. Gracias.
Nick Schifrin from PBS, please.
Hola, María Corina. Thank you so much. It's great to see you in person after seeing you virtually for the last few years. Two questions, if I could, similar to what you just answered, but in English. You had a very good meeting with the president yesterday, but he still maintains a positive relationship and positive language about Delcy Rodriguez. The CIA director was just there. So what's your message to the president and to the United States when U.S. policy is still to support the Chavismo government that still exists in Caracas? And I have to ask, your statement last night said that you felt like you were going to die at one point when you left Venezuela in the boat. Can you just tell us exactly what happened in that moment when you were in that boat? Thank you.
Well, regarding all the details of how and when I left Venezuela, for the protection of those involved and help me get here, I will wait until the regime is no longer in capacity to harm them, to share that in detail. Yes, there was a certain moment in the trip, in the boat, where I was hurt because the waves were very high, over 6 feet, and there was a strong wind, and we got lost in the ocean. We lost the sign of the GPS, and the satellite phone stopped working, and Starlink antenna did not work as well, all at the same time. So it was a very risky, dangerous, and scary moment, I have to say. And it lasted several hours. But at the end, as I say, you know, we have moved ahead de la mano de Dios. And that's why I believe it is a miracle, and I'm here. And I know that someday I will be able to tell you all the details and thank personally all those that risked their lives in order for this to happen, because they knew it was very important for our cause that I was able to leave my country at that moment. Regarding your first question, look, this has nothing to do with a tension or decision between Delcy Rodriguez and myself. This is about the cartel and justice. This is about a criminal structure that is the regime and the mandate of the Venezuelan people. That's what's at stake at this moment. I'm just one member of a huge movement of millions of Venezuelans that have decided and are committed to be free. And I have no doubt that President Trump, his administration, and the people of the United States support democracy, justice, freedom, and the mandate of the people of Venezuela. I have absolutely no doubt, not only because it's in the well-being of Venezuelan people, but as I say, because it's crucial for the American people. The United States today is a safer nation after January 3rd. And once the regime is out and the transition is accomplished, the United States will not only be a safer nation, but one that will have more prosperity and strength in our hemisphere.
Can we get Eric Martin from Bloomberg, please?
I see. Sorry. Thank you. Maria Corina, would like to ask you about the timeline for democratic transition within Venezuela, because obviously the Constitution calls for within 30 days a new election. You've already been recognized by a number of countries, including the US in 2024, Edmundo Gonzalez as having won that election, and accusations that the election was stolen by the Maduro regime. As you've mentioned, you overwhelmingly won the primary in 2023. Do you have an expectation, is your expectation that the next step in this process would be a new election in Venezuela? Do you expect that to happen in 2026? Or what does the roadmap look like from getting from today's government by Delcy Rodriguez, the government de facto that is in control, to a democratically elected government? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Well, if the Venezuelan Constitution were respected, we wouldn't have 1,000 political prisoners. We wouldn't have 9 million people, fleeing and living around the country. We wouldn't have our president-elect exiled in Madrid. I mean, he would have taken power on January 9, 2024. So 2025, sorry. So we realize that there's no rule of law in Venezuela. I don't know actually if you're aware, Venezuela is currently in the last place globally in terms of rule of law. Out of 142 countries that have been evaluated by the World Justice Project, Venezuela is in place 142. So much for the Constitution. At the end, it is a matter of strength, and that was what made this process, starting on January 3rd, happen. I mean, that was the main difference. They realized, the regime realized that they are facing the strength of a people organized, but mostly, in this last phase, the strength of the democratic allies that are concerned about the structure of the regime, of the criminal regime in Venezuela. So this is a process that has several phases. We are in one that it's complex, as I said, in which the regime is forced to dismantle themselves some of the structures that have been maintaining them in power, starting with the repression system. That requires not only that all political prisoners are liberated, but that they are free. The fact that you are not in a prison doesn't mean that you are free. In Venezuela, they have left the jails, but they cannot speak to the press. They cannot leave the country, and they are still terrified. All torture centers have to be closed, and certainly there have to be guarantees for journalists to speak out, and those who have left the country to come back and organize and make the will of the people be respected. Eric, believe me, I understand the urgency. I have been speaking with the families, not only of those that have been freed or liberated these last hours, but especially with those that have not, and that they don't know where their loved ones are right now. They have simply disappeared. I'm talking about hundreds of people. Actually, we found out in these last hours that there were more political prisoners than we thought, because many families had been scared just even to denounce that their loved ones had been in prison or disappeared by the regime. So some of those that have been liberated were not even registered by us. So, and this is still in place. I mean, there is a criminal structure of terror, not only on the civilian population, but also in the military. So that one of the main urgencies and priorities that have to take place in the days to come is we need to dismantle that terror structure by the DGCIM or La Casa Militar, which are those that have committed crimes against humanity and that are those that have not only the civilian but the military under terror and neutralized. Once these steps are taken, then we can move forward in the reinstitutionalization of our government, and eventually we will have free and fair elections. And I'm talking about governors, mayors, National Assembly. We need to have, you know, the will of the people be expressed freely. I have to remember that in the last election, presidential election, where our president-elect Edmundo González won, nearly 40% of Venezuelans that have a right to vote couldn't do it because the regime wouldn't allow them. That's one of the main things we need to correct. Every single Venezuelan living in Venezuela or abroad should have the right to vote as soon as possible. Thank you.
Gaby Peroso from BPI, please.
Gracias. Quería que nos dijeras lo que se pueda revelar de la reunión con el presidente Donald Trump, por ejemplo, la importancia del reconocimiento al presidente electo Edmundo González, un cronograma electoral, eso se habló, hay posibilidades ciertas de esas dos cosas. Y en segundo lugar, una pregunta que se hacen los venezolanos, tu retorno a Venezuela, saliste con condiciones distintas, ahora Estados Unidos también está involucrado en eso. También se habló de eso con el presidente Donald Trump, la conveniencia que vuelvas o no, y para poner lapsos a Carnaval, Semana Santa, ¿cómo lo podemos medir? Porque los venezolanos se lo preguntan. Gracias.
Gracias, Gladys, te entiendo, porque como lo dije antes en inglés, para nosotros es un tema de vida o muerte. Miles de venezolanos cada día que pasa. Es una tortura, es una tragedia y es un tema de la urgencia ética asociada a poder realmente iniciar un proceso de reconstrucción del país y que regresen los venezolanos que se han ido. Como ustedes comprenderán, los detalles de la conversación con el presidente no lo voy a hacer público, es parte, por eso fue una conversación privada y yo soy rigurosamente respetuosa de los términos de cada conversación. Sí, porque esto depende de lo que yo dije y que además lo he dicho públicamente, voy a decirles que por supuesto que insistí en mi deseo de regresar a Venezuela lo antes posible. Y lo voy a hacer. Voy a regresar a Venezuela lo antes posible. Y evidentemente fue un tema que discutimos y todo lo que ello implica. Pero no soy solo yo. Son millones de venezolanos, otros compañeros, líderes políticos de otros partidos que también quieren hacerlo. Incluso ayer algunos senadores hablaban de ir a Venezuela, lo dijeron públicamente, lo declararon. Y les bueno, quizás hasta podemos ir juntos. Es decir, yo creo que hay mucha gente en el mundo preparándose para ir a Venezuela porque sabemos que este es un proceso irreversible. Puede tomar un día más, puede tomar un día menos. Puede haber alguna fase que no nos la habíamos previsto o que no nos gusta. Eso es verdad. Es un proceso tremendamente complejo, desmontando una estructura que tiene 27 años en el poder, destruyendo todo, aliados con los rusos, con el régimen iraní, entregando nuestras riquezas a China, ofreciendo el territorio venezolano para que opere Hezbollah, Hamas, los carteles de la droga, la guerrilla colombiana. Todo ha entrado, persiguiendo a la sociedad, acabando con nuestras instituciones. Y no pudieron. Tenido toda la plata del mundo. Por aquí tenía yo la cifra de lo que fue, lo que le ha entregado el régimen chavista desde el 99 hasta este año en petróleo venezolano regalado a Cuba. Estamos hablando cerca de 5 billones de barriles de petróleo. Es una cifra monumental, regalada. Entonces a mí no me vengan a decir que quién se está agarrando el petróleo en Venezuela en este momento. O sea, han saqueado Venezuela. Y aún así, el país está de pie, decidido, unido, y pueden tener la seguridad que nosotros vamos a convertir a Venezuela, ahora sí, en el milagro latinoamericano.
So this was supposed to last until noon. It is now noon, but if everyone's game to stay, we stay. Paolo Mastrolli from La Repubblica, please.
Thank you very much for doing this. You met in Rome with Pope Leo. Can you talk about what you discussed with him, if the Holy See is willing and able to help you in this transition?
Thank you very much. That was a very important meeting. I'm a Catholic, as you know, and believe me, during my trip, I prayed a lot. So I was able not only to talk to him, but to present to him some of the rosaries that I had brought with me during the trip. And it was a day that marked my life in a personal dimension, but also I had a reassurance of the Holy Father that he knows very well what's going on in Venezuela. He knows what the Catholic Church is going through because of the persecution and pressure on our bishops and priests and nuns. And I believe that he's not only concerned, but actively helping and supporting a peaceful transitional process to take place. I think it was a very important and timely message to Venezuelan society, which is mostly, as you know, Christian. So I think it couldn't have been in a better moment, and it brought a lot of hope and reassurance to our people. Thank you.
David Alandete from Diario ABC, please.
Aquí está, David. Tú no me vas a hacer preguntas porque tú sabes más que yo.
No, no me digas eso.
Yo me entero de todos los detalles de mis reuniones por ti, entonces...
Ok, sorry about that. No, te pregunto en español.
Dale, David.
Ok, muchas gracias. Quería hacerte dos preguntas y muchísimas gracias por hacer esto. Es genial poder vernos, que no sea virtualmente. Estaba interesado en cómo... Se ha escrito mucho, se ha dicho mucho sobre cómo fue la visita, los términos. Sin revelar nada interno, ¿cómo te sentiste tratada y recibida? Porque creo que ese ha sido un punto muy importante en la cobertura de la visita. Y el segundo, ¿qué le dirías a la comunidad internacional después de haber sido recibida en la Casa Blanca? Me refiero a la Unión Europea, a otros países que han estado antes en mediación, pero no lo están ahora después de la operación del 3 de enero. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, David. En primer lugar, nuevamente lo voy a repetir. Yo no estaba allí como un individuo, yo estoy allí en representación del pueblo de Venezuela. Nosotros representamos al pueblo de Venezuela. Ganamos apabullantemente, no una, 2 elecciones. Y el mundo entero lo sabe. Estamos allí en representación de un pueblo que ha dado su vida para vivir en libertad. Y que no vamos a descansar hasta lograrlo. O sea, Venezuela va a ser libre, que nadie lo dude. Y esto va a ocurrir gracias al apoyo que hemos recibido del presidente Donald Trump. Y así lo digo con todas sus letras, y así lo dije ayer en el Senado, en frente de senadores de ambos partidos a quienes les agradezco profundamente su presencia, porque si hay algo que ha unido al pueblo de los Estados Unidos es la causa por la libertad de Venezuela. Y así queremos que siga siendo, porque el pueblo de Estados Unidos entiende cómo la libertad de Venezuela afecta a todo el hemisferio. indiscutiblemente para los venezolanos es un tema existencial, pero es un tema prioritario. Yo sentí un enorme respeto hacia el pueblo de Venezuela ayer, cuando entramos a la oficina oval. Y no sé cuánto iba a durar la reunión, pero la verdad es que sentí que pasaba el tiempo, podíamos conversar de todos los temas con absoluta honestidad, crudeza. Bueno, ustedes me conocen como yo soy, yo digo lo que siento, lo que pienso y con mucho respeto, sin lugar a dudas, la responsabilidad de este momento único. Y salí de allí y se lo decía anoche en una entrevista que grabé con Rachel Campos, le decía, me impactó la preocupación que él me transmitía sobre la situación de los venezolanos hoy. Cómo están los niños, cómo están los jóvenes, cómo están los ancianos, cómo está el sistema de salud, cómo está el sistema de educación, cómo están las familias, qué planes tenemos. O sea, yo creo que quizás públicamente se da a conocer más las preocupaciones por temas económicos, energéticos, etcétera, pero yo ahí pude tener una conversación con un ser humano que le duele lo que están viviendo los venezolanos, que le preocupa y que está genuinamente comprometido con su bienestar. Por eso yo salí realmente convencida de que lo que necesitamos para sumar a toda la fuerza y la organización adentro en un genuino liderazgo global está en la Casa Blanca, y creo que servirá de ejemplo para aquellos líderes globales o mundiales que no han tenido la determinación de llamar las cosas por su nombre, porque todos lo saben. A estas alturas no hay excusas. Están los informes de Naciones Unidas y el Fact-Finding Mission, donde se demuestra los crímenes de lesa humanidad que ha cometido Nicolás Maduro, Delcy Rodríguez, Diosdado Cabello, Vladimir Padrino López. Eso está allí, con nombre y apellido, testimonios desgarradores. Entonces no hay excusa para ignorar el terrorismo de Estado, como ha calificado la Comisión Interamericana de Derechos Humanos. Más allá de todos los crímenes de corrupción, narcotráfico, tráfico de seres humanos, de armas, todo lo que sabemos que sigue ocurriendo en Venezuela. Es que yo salí emocionada y con una gran responsabilidad, desde luego, para los tiempos por venir.
Maxine Wallace, Washington Post, please. Maxine is not here. Washington Post.
Washington Post, here.
No Washington Post, okay. Then let's go with Carla Angola, please. She's right next to you.
I can hold it. Ok, perdón. ¿Cómo estás, María Corina? Quería solo algunos detalles, ¿no? El primero que siempre me ha dado curiosidad sigue siendo, ¿cómo fue esa primera noche en la que dormiste sin estar en clandestinidad, sin haber estado todos esos años sin poder salir del país? Es decir, dormir una noche sin la sospecha o el peligro de que alguien te fuera a buscar. Eso siempre me dio curiosidad, que si lo pudieras compartir. Y después en esa reunión, ¿pudiste conocer cómo te vas a involucrar? Porque el presidente lo dijo en algún momento, que tú vas a estar involucrada en alguna de las fases. ¿Pudiste descubrirlo en esa reunión? ¿Nos puedes dar alguna seña de cómo vas a estar involucrada y en qué fase? Y tercero, si pudieras decirnos si tú crees que Delcy Rodríguez, con ese perfil de miembro del cartel, de criminal de lesa humanidad, pudiera tener las credenciales para ser una candidata a la presidencia, si es que ella va a tener permitido eso con todo ese prontuario, si ella de verdad crees que debería o va a poder participar en esa futura elección justa y libre de la que estás hablando.
Bueno, tú me conoces bien, querida Carla, yo no voy a especular. Yo voy a hablar solamente sobre los hechos y aquellos que además me puedo dar fe. En primer lugar, de la señora Delcy Rodríguez, creo que la justicia de los Estados Unidos tiene suficiente información, y la justicia internacional. Solamente les recuerdo que no solamente es ideológicamente comunista y muy fanatizada, pero además ha sido, como en el cargo de vicepresidente, quien ha supervisado y ejecutado todo el proceso de represión en Venezuela. Es decir, los centros de tortura están bajo su dirección y han estado bajo su dirección. Es responsable directa. Además, ha sido parte del diseño de bypassear las sanciones de los Estados Unidos, de la justicia de los Estados Unidos, para poder obtener y seguir haciendo transacciones financieras con países que son enemigos de los Estados Unidos. Entonces, queda muy claro cuál ha sido y cuál es su perfil. Y con relación al rol que vamos a tener el gobierno electo en estos próximos pasos, es algo que no hay que descubrir, es algo que hay que construir. Y ayer dimos un paso y evidentemente es algo que está en diseño, en construcción y veremos día a día cómo va ocurriendo. Como yo se los decía siempre a los venezolanos, it's one day at a time, ya estamos en una fase que es 1 hour at a time. Y como son las cosas en Venezuela, ya ustedes saben cuál va a ser lo próximo, ¿no? Entonces aquí nadie se aburre en materia de las dinámicas en Venezuela porque están pasando muchas cosas. Y muchas veces, y yo sé que tú lo dijiste una vez, creo que David también, que cuando yo estoy más callada es cuando más duro estamos trabajando. Entonces, sí les pido en ese sentido, y yo sé que los venezolanos tienen profunda confianza. Miren a dónde hemos llegado. Con relación, se meten mis temas personales, y esos son los que más me cuestan, a lo que fue la salida, lo único que les puedo decir es que yo no dormí esa primera noche. Yo primero tenía 16 meses en los cuales cada ruido que ocurría, sonaba algo, inmediatamente me despertaba. O sea, tenía 16. Y esa sensación de que puedes dormir en paz, segura, de que un ruido no implica una amenaza, es algo que toma un tiempo procesarlo. Yo me levanto algunas veces y no estoy sola. Abro los ojos y puedo abrir la ventana, ¿no? Son cosas que quizás para muchas personas son take for granted, ¿no? Hay que vivir esto para valorar la libertad. Y la verdad es que si hay algo que yo tengo que hacer es darle las gracias y pedirle perdón a mi familia, porque hay que ver lo que esta experiencia les ha traído, ¿no? A todos, a las familias de todos los que estamos involucrados en esta causa, ¿no? No es solo la mía. Yo hablaba ayer con la madre de un muchacho que liberaron y la verdad es que es admirable. Y cuando he hablado con cada uno de los presos liberados, es tanta la admiración, porque los que me dicen es, lo volvería a hacer, María Corina. Antes de saludarme, lo primero que me dicen, quiero que sepas, lo volvería a hacer. Y después, te adoro, te quiero, no sé cuánto me muero por verte. Pero lo primero es, quiero que sepas, lo volvería a hacer. Yes.
Can we get Vera from the Wall Street Journal, please? Vera's not here. Wall Street Journal? Okay, then we go with Ilia Calderón from Univision.
Tú eres la voz del pueblo venezolano y representas al pueblo venezolano. Delcy Rodríguez está en este momento al frente del gobierno de Venezuela. El presidente Trump ha tenido palabras para elogiarla y ha dicho que su gobierno está trabajando muy bien con ella. ¿Qué te garantiza a ti que va a haber una transición? Y si no temes que este hecho de que se lleven bien y de que estén trabajando bien lleve a que se perpetúe el régimen en el poder en detrimento sobre todo de los venezolanos que están en Venezuela.
Entiendo perfectamente tu preocupación, porque al final eso es lo que ellos han hecho. Pero recordemos, han habido 17 iniciativas de diálogo. Esta no es la primera, de aproximación o negociación, acuerdo. 17. Todas, absolutamente todas, lo que el régimen buscó fue ganar tiempo, legitimidad y plata. Y se salió siempre con la suya. Todo lo que se comprometían a hacer lo violaron siempre. Entonces, es lógico que el pueblo de Venezuela tenga esta preocupación. Pero la señora Delcy Rodríguez en este momento lo que está es cumpliendo órdenes. Ella no está en un acuerdo a motus propio, ni cómoda. Ella está cumpliendo órdenes, porque al final, si algo demostró el 3 de enero, es que tenía que haber una amenaza real, tenía que haber fuerza real. El costo de quedarse en el poder tenía que ser más alto que el costo de la salida para que se diera este cambio de actitud en el régimen. Y los venezolanos hicimos todo lo que nos correspondía en términos de la organización, la movilización, la victoria electoral. Pero hacía falta el respaldo decidido de los Estados Unidos y finalmente llegó de la mano del presidente Trump. Entonces, esto es otra fase. Ahora bien, se tiene hoy un sector que está cumpliendo en el desmantelamiento del otro sector del régimen. Eso existe. Y desde luego se tiene la fuerza real y la amenaza del gobierno de los Estados Unidos. ¿Qué falta aquí? ¿Qué falta aquí en este análisis? La gente, el pueblo de Venezuela. Y eso es lo que nosotros representamos. La legitimidad y la garantía de una transición ordenada que tiene que tener el respaldo del pueblo de Venezuela. Cuando tú tienes un pueblo unido, no hay manera de ignorarlo. Y yo sé que ese no es el objetivo del presidente Trump o del secretario Rubio, todo lo contrario. Es acompañar y apoyar al pueblo de Venezuela en su derecho de ejercer la soberanía popular. Ahora estamos en una fase compleja que aspiramos a poder cumplirla de la manera ordenada, controlada y más rápida posible. Yo no voy a adelantarme a poner fechas y a poner calendarios porque sería una irresponsabilidad. El 2 de enero, ¿quién habría pensado que estábamos tan cerca de iniciar esta fase? Y nos dijeron que era imposible, by the way. Nos dijeron que era imposible que ocurriera lo que ocurrió. Y hoy Nicolás Maduro está enfrentando la justicia internacional. Dime tú la magnitud del paso que hemos dado. ¿Estamos listos? Obviamente no. Pero fueron 27 años para montar esta estructura. Y estamos avanzando con paso muy firme. Y yo sé que esto se terminará acelerando y canalizando, porque finalmente los vectores están todos alineados. Falta, sí, como decía David, que algunos otros países alrededor del mundo, con firmeza y valentía, reconozcan que se está haciendo lo correcto y que lo acompañen. Yo creo que en este momento no es posible, porque depende de múltiples variables, pero nuevamente, trabajando duro para garantizar que podamos regresar a Venezuela con Edmundo González Urrutia también.
Benjamín Álvarez, de Deutsche Welle. ¿Dónde está Deutsche Welle?
Muchas gracias. Una pregunta refiriéndome a lo que acaba de mencionar de que Delcy Rodríguez está recibiendo órdenes y no está cooperando con la administración Trump. ¿Cómo ve esta reunión de 2 horas que sostuvo Delcy Rodríguez con el presidente de la CIA el día de ayer? ¿Y no le preocupa esta cooperación tan cercana que está buscando la administración de Trump con ella y con la gente cercana al régimen?
Yo no quiero especular, no conozco los detalles. Ahora, si los Estados Unidos obtienen la información que necesita por parte de esta señora, yo creo que ese es el tipo de cooperación que nosotros esperamos, sin duda, y nos conviene, sin duda. Yo entiendo que para muchas personas esta es una situación difícil de entender. Para muchos venezolanos quisiéramos que esto evolucionara probablemente de una manera más rápida y trabajaremos para que así sea. Pero desde luego, pocas personas tienen tanta información sobre la estructura criminal de la tiranía como quien fue parte de su diseño. Así que sin duda tiene información que le debe ser de altísimo valor al director de la CIA.
We're going to take a couple of questions in English. Eric, from Politico, are you here? Please.
Thank you so much, María Corina. It's good to see you in person, as others have said. Today, Venezuela accepted its first deportation flight since the operation on January 3rd. It followed a month of pauses. There's been some worry that Rodriguez could use migration cooperation with the United States as a way to defray pressure to go towards elections or to dismantle criminal networks in the country. Do you share those concerns that she could use an issue that is very central to this administration's foreign policy?
Thank you very much. We all know how this regime weaponized migration against several countries, not only the United States. And migration in Venezuela was designed by the regime. Wasn't, you know, just spontaneously happened. It was designed by them. And certainly they've tried to use our people as that trade bargain, you know, in trade to which is very, very painful. But I think everybody knows that the only way that we can have people on their own means, and talking hundreds of thousands coming back, is given the Venezuelan people the hope, the certainty that we will have a democratic future and security in our country. It's not a matter of having all economic problems solved. People are willing to go back to be part of the solution. But if they have, you know, hope that we will have a freedom and democracy in the future. So I think it is clearly in the best interest of the United States and those that are concerned about migration to have a transition take place as soon as possible, because you will see millions coming back home.
I have several accredited journalists from the AP. I don't know who wants to take the question. Josh Goodman from Associated Press.
Hi, Maria Corina. Thank you. Lots of questions still about the meeting yesterday with President Trump. I just have three specific ones. Did you urge him to seek the arrest of Diosdado Cabello? Did you urge him not to meet with Delcy Rodriguez, as he's indicated he would? And did you urge him to not allow Delcy Rodriguez to reopen the Venezuelan embassy in Washington? Those are three specifics. Want to know what your position on those are. Thanks.
Well, I think I don't need to urge the president of specific things. I think it's very clear what has to be done right now. We exchange views about the implications of several actions. And I just want to tell you that I was very impressed of the degree of information he has, how closely he follows the situation in Venezuela, and how much he's concerned about the well-being of our people. Certainly we did talk about the political prisoners and their families, and the importance to stop repression at, you know, from the root in Venezuela right now, because you cannot talk of a transition, even in its first steps, if there's still repression in our nation.
The Daily Signal.
Thank you so much. Wondering regarding your meeting with President Trump yesterday, do you believe that you earned the trust of the president? And did you all specifically talk about a transition of power in Venezuela in which you would become president? Thank you.
Point again, this is not about me. It is about the will of the people. And we certainly talk about how popular sovereignty has been expressed in Venezuela, and absolutely terrible conditions in which we did, and how the regime stole that result. And I think he can certainly relate to that. So I believe that the point here is Venezuela has decided as a nation to be united first, to unite back again, and to fight for a right to be free. And he understands the moment, and the implication for I would say, the whole hemisphere. We talked, and I would say this, I know you can imagine that about other countries, and specifically about Cuba and the implications of a transition to democracy in Venezuela, what would mean to Cuba. And I insisted in something I've said many times, that I believe that for the first time in history, we will have the Americas free of communism, dictatorship, and narco-terrorism for the first time in history. And that's what's already happening. Sometimes you are so immersed in processes that, it's hard to understand the implication. The geopolitical and historic implications. Imagine what this will mean to have these dictatorships finally gone in Venezuela, in Cuba, and Nicaragua. I mean, this is equivalent to the fall of the Berlin Wall in the Americas. So this is huge from a historic perspective, and this is happening as we speak.
Torao Kono, NHK Japan. No? Japan media? Okay, can we get Mr. Rosen from Newsmax? Also not here, okay. Jesus La Patilla, please.
Okay. I was wondering if President Trump he's aware of how many political prisoners have been released so far. I mean, it's less than 10%, and I was wondering if he's aware of that, and if he's told you some strategies that he will do to enforce, to make them release in the next months or weeks or something.
Certainly aware. President Trump is certainly aware of what's happening with the political prisoners, how they are not being complying as they were expected, and committed to see that happen. I have no doubt. Well, what specifically he plans to do, we didn't get involved into that, but I trust his word that that's something it will take place. And as you know, Jesus, and we've talked about this, this is one of certainly my top priorities right now, certainly.
We do have another media outlet from Japan. If you're in the room, please raise your hand. No? Okay. AFP, Agence France Presse. Over there.
Sí, gracias. Gracias por la rueda de prensa. Señora Machado, quisiera saber, usted dice que es un proceso complejo, ¿cuál es la primera prioridad? Ahora que salga de Washington, ¿qué es lo primero que quiere negociar o ver de parte del gobierno de Estados Unidos?
Mi prioridad, a título personal o para los Estados Unidos. Bueno, en términos de esta fase hay que terminar de desmontar la represión. Insisto, no es solamente que una persona pueda salir de la cárcel, es que sea libre y que se detenga la puerta, lo que se llama la puerta giratoria en Venezuela. Te sueltan 5 personas y te detienen 10 el mismo día. Y eso está pasando hoy. Esto sigue ocurriendo hoy. Y entre otras cosas, les recuerdo que la estructura del poder en Venezuela no es monolítica y no es jerárquica, es heterárquica. Por eso la propia señora Delcy Rodríguez no tiene control. Cuando dicen que controla las Fuerzas Armadas, no controla las Fuerzas Armadas. Ella lo que controla es la estructura represiva que tiene anulada las Fuerzas Armadas, que en este momento es el DGCIM y también la Casa Militar, en la cual también tiene gran control Diosdado Cabello, con enormes tensiones en el alto mando militar. Las Fuerzas Armadas, en más del 80%, están con nosotros. Si no, no hubiéramos obtenido las actas el 28 de julio. Y eso es algo que el régimen lo sabe. Nicolás Maduro estaba protegido ¿por quiénes? ¿Venezolanos? No. No confía en los venezolanos. Él sabe que las Fuerzas Armadas repudian este sistema tanto como el resto de los ciudadanos de nuestro país. Pero las Fuerzas Armadas están amarradas, neutralizadas, aterrorizadas por la estructura represiva del DGCIM. Y esa es la estructura criminal que hay que terminar de desmontar. Una vez que eliminamos el factor represión en Venezuela, ¿cuánto dura el régimen? ¿Cuánto dura el régimen? Es lo único que les queda, es el terror. Es lo único que les queda, es el terror. Entonces, estamos en esa fase, esa es la prioridad. Y veremos entonces cómo avanzaremos en la reinstitucionalización del país hasta llegar a un proceso de legitimación de todas las autoridades democráticas. Pero les digo, al final hay algunas cosas que Delcy Rodríguez podrá entregar, obligada por la fuerza, porque le tiene terror al presidente Trump, ahí no hay ninguna duda. Pero hay cosas que jamás podrá Delcy Rodríguez, ni ninguna de los miembros de la estructura criminal proveer. Confianza, Estado de Derecho, reencuentro, participación y apoyo ciudadano. Jamás, jamás. Por lo tanto, esto no es sostenible y ella lo sabe. Y por eso vamos avanzando en una fase delicada, un día a la vez, pero con una sola misión, con un solo propósito, y es lograr la verdadera instauración de la democracia y la libertad en Venezuela para que puedan regresar nuestros hijos y todos los venezolanos a casa. Muchísimas gracias.
One last question for Mr. Bernalete. Noticias, please.
María Corina, gracias por la oportunidad, gracias a todo el equipo. Conversación que tenga prevista con el secretario Marco Rubio en virtud de recapitular un poco la orientación diplomática entre Venezuela y el gobierno de Estados Unidos, y hay alguna aclaratoria con los términos de cooperación energética entre Estados Unidos, dado que el secretario del Departamento de Energía dijo que hasta 2 años podría ser el control del petróleo en Venezuela.
Bueno, nuevamente, las cosas en Venezuela se están moviendo rápidamente. Es evidente que mientras esté el régimen en el poder, no hay confianza para ninguna persona, para ninguna institución, para ninguna empresa, y por lo tanto existe este nivel de supervisión sobre los ingresos petroleros. Pero la transición en Venezuela, y como mismo dijo el secretario de Estado, las fases se solapan y esto puede acelerarse enormemente. Yo voy a tener varias reuniones en Washington y en otras ciudades sobre las cuales en su momento informaré, prefiero no hacerlo desde ahora. Yo sé que ustedes entienden, por respeto a las agendas y a los acuerdos con mis interlocutores. Pero en todo caso, quiero darles las gracias. Créanme que es toda una experiencia interactuar con periodistas que pueden libremente decir lo que piensan, hacer las preguntas que les salen del alma y no las que les imponen, y poderlos ver a la cara con un backing que no sea blanco. Y con el orgullo de decirles que lo que viene es enorme, y que así como Venezuela hace 200 años fue el foco de la lucha por la libertad y la liberación de nuestra región, una vez más el futuro de la región de América Latina se está luchando en el suelo venezolano, y yo voy a regresar lo antes posible. Espero que muchos de ustedes puedan hacerlo conmigo también. Muchas gracias. Gracias.
Thank you very much. To file out, and then we'll all orderly come out the back. But thank you very much. Let's welcome or thank Ms. Machado for her time.
Stumbled on an old Albert Camus quote. We must imagine Sisyphus. And it's really, it hit me right
right in the center. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna imagine he's got to do that thing, but he knows me. He knows me. Oh, well, you know, the person from AFT probably knows got to do a thing.